When it comes to competitiveness, jealousy, and envy within women's sportsmanship, we already know this when it comes to black women being in certain spaces, Venus and Serena, the things that they had to go through. Hello, right? So I want to take you guys back to a story that happened in 1996, 1997 with Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. So the evidence says that Tanya Harding had attacked Nancy Kerrigan behind stage. They was training, they was getting ready to compete against each other, ice skating, and one of them ended up with a broken leg right before she was supposed to compete, right? And um, the other had said that she didn't attack, but people had speculated that she had paid someone to attack the other ice skater. So, and it was wild because this was a first glimpse for me into how vicious women can be. The story went viral everywhere for months, even like years back in the 90s. So I was just like, wow. And then there was like all of these stories that would come out in the 90s, like movies, pageant movies, cheerleading movies about how vicious women can be when it comes to those competing sectors. And I remember there was a movie specifically called 1996, Dangerous and Crowned. And it's a really good movie. It gives you a glimpse into what happens behind the scenes. Like you see the beautiful gowns and the flowers, beautiful hair and makeup, but behind the scenes, total chaos amongst women. So, and when I think about the beauty industry, modeling, makeup, hair, fashion, um, again, sportsmanship, tennis, dance, cheerleading, even debutante balls, stuff like that, beauty pageants, you can see that play out, and it's crazy. It's wild because these are spaces that were created. I also have a theory. I'm not going to get into it right now, but these were spaces that were supposed to be created for women to come together, love what they do, their talents, be role models for young girls, right? And I am going to include some pictures, guys, so make sure you are looking at the top. But what happened with Miss International Queen 2025, Midori Monet, what happened to her on stage, it reminded me of those movies from like way back then and like the industry and everything. So I was like, wow. And I think this is a really good conversation for women to start having when it comes to sportsmanship, the beauty industry, and working around other women. Because one thing I know when it comes to women and how jealous and envious they can be, they will not only emotionally attack you and harm you, it can turn physical. That's bad. It can turn physical. So yeah, it's wild. There was another story that had came out around the same time. A lot was going on back then. Princess Diana had, you know, she was tragically, you know, but it was a lot happening. There was another story though. John Bonet, I remember, and she was also a younger girl who was in beauty pageants for little girls, and she was when she was 6 years old, I believe 6 or 7, and that story also blew up. So it just shows how, with that particular story, how people can want to harm you because of how you look, and how vicious people can be when it comes to beauty. People say that they love beauty and they appreciate beauty and being able to put on beautiful gowns and dress up and makeup and talents, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that people really appreciate beauty, because if so, even some of the stories that I've seen here on TikTok about women, beautiful women models getting attacked by other people or other women is really, really dangerous. And it's like, that ties into the conversation that women are having when it comes to pretty privilege and then pretty punishment. What's happening? Because to my knowledge, I'm like, okay, if all of you guys are pretty, beautiful women, why can't you get along with each other? Because you understand the same struggles. You understand that you have a similar background, right? So I don't know. It's really, really strange because on the outside, you are talking about self-love, talking about how, you want to be a role model for other women and younger girls, but this is how you really behave. And so I think it puts a bad taste in people's mouths when it comes to the pageant industry, when it comes to women, you know, involving themselves in sportsmanship, even though that sector will always exist. But if the issues aren't addressed, it's going to make people not want to be a part of it. And it's taken away from like the actual good things that can happen. You can, again, write books, you can showcase your talents, win prizes, money. That's supposed to be the fun part of it, not becoming emotionally violent, wanting to attack other people. So you guys know that I'm going to always add in a spiritual element to this. Also, take care of your beauty, love your beauty, manage your beauty, your health, your talents, your gifts, anything that makes you you, right? And if you are going to go out there and compete and do certain pageants and everything, just make sure that you still are focused on your own goals, because sometimes that's all people have. I know that people will do pageants because they may need like money and certain opportunities, which is cool. It's sort of like when men go off to go play sports or whatever. It's the same thing. So it's just for women, but make sure you're guarding your beauty and your talents, because again, people can be very vicious and hateful, jealous and envious, and it can get really, really wild. But another thing is, people believe that jealousy and envy is a human emotion. I think it's more sinister. I think it's more demonic. That's just my own views on it. And yeah, it's something to watch out for. And I believe also you have to check that when you're younger, childhood jealousy, because it does exist, when kids see other kids and one may be pretty or shown a little bit more attention. Kids can be reactive and they may respond in a negative way. So it's just something to keep in mind. I always like to say, in your childhood, did your parents ever talk to you about jealousy and envy and what it looks like or has the potential to look like? Or did they just tell you, you're so pretty? I think we was all told that growing up. You're so pretty, you're so great, you're this and you're that. But what's the other side? What's the real side? Is there a spiritual element? And it is. Is it how other people are being raised? Most likely. Is it tied to something else? Most likely. And I think that parents need to really teach their daughters to protect themselves when it comes to this, this essence. So that is all for this video. I will talk to you guys later.